Not long after, Lin Jing and his two companions arrived at the Li family estate. As soon as Lin Jing reached the entrance of the Li family estate, he looked up, noticing that the place was mostly the same as before, and aside from a reduced sense of antiquity that came with being a heritage family, not much else had changed. It seemed that Li Qingqing was nostalgic, keeping the estate's previous appearance even in the rebuilding process. At the gate of the Li family estate stood two young Foundation establishment cultivators on guard, neither of whom Lin Jing recognized. These two were probably younger members of the Li family who had come of age after the disaster with the Howling Skywolf clan. When they saw Lin Jing's group approaching, the two guards immediately turned their attention towards them. It was at this moment that Little Sparrow, perhaps catching sight of familiar surroundings, fluttered its wings and flew straight towards the Li family's inner courtyard. Little Sparrow did not hide its cultivation, and its frightening presence made it clear to anyone that it was not to be trifled with. The two Foundation establishment cultivators at the gate, upon seeing Little Sparrow flying towards them, were so frightened that they froze on the spot. However, Little Sparrow paid no heed to them and swiftly flew past, disappearing into the Li family courtyard. Only after Little Sparrow had entered did the two recover from their shock. Seeing Lin Jing's group continue to approach, the two guards became vigilant once more. It was then that Lin Jing spoke up. "There's no need to be nervous. We're here to see someone from the Li family." Hearing Lin Jing say this, the two guards relaxed a little, though they still were somewhat cautious. After all, they couldn't discern the levels of cultivation of Lin Jing's party, which clearly indicated that Lin Jing's group were much higher in cultivation than themselves. It was very likely that all three were golden core cultivators. So, one of them plucked up the courage to approach Lin Jing and the others, greeting them with a cupped fist salute. "Esteemed seniors, may I ask who you are seeking at our Li family?" Lin Ju then spoke up. "We're looking for Sister Qingqing." "You're looking for the family head?" The guard was puzzled. Before he could ask further questions, a surge of energy suddenly burst forth from within the Li family courtyard, quickly approaching the entrance where they stood. In just a short moment, the energy drew near. Then, they saw an excited Li Qingqing flying out of the courtyard, with Little Sparrow, who had just entered, perched on her shoulder. When the guards at the entrance saw Li Qingqing, they immediately saluted and said to her, "Family head." Li Qingqing quickly stepped in front of Lin Jing, hardly able to hide her excitement, and after giving Lin Jing a good look, she said, "Brother Lin Jing, you've arrived." Lin Jing nodded and replied, "We've arrived." The two guards at the door were completely stunned when they heard Li Qingqing call this person Brother Lin Jing. It had never crossed their minds that the individual visiting was their family head's brother. At the same time, they were also confused, as they only knew that their family head indeed had a brother named Li Tongyu. They had seen his portrait, and it was definitely not the person before them. This brother of their family head was a complete mystery to them. However, since it concerned their family head, the two guards kept their doubts to themselves and dared not inquire further. Lin Ju also stepped forward at this time, speaking with a smile. "Sister Qingqing, it seems you only have eyes for my brother, ignoring both Yi Yun and me. I'm truly heartbroken." Li Qingqing's face flushed at these words. Then she turned her head and shot Lin Ju a glare. "How dare I forget about you? After being apart for so long, you've grown so bold as to tease me. Just wait until I teach you a lesson." Seeing the tide turn against him, Lin Ju quickly pleaded for mercy. "Stop. Sister Qingqing, I was wrong. Please spare me." "That's right. He needs to be taught a lesson." Lin Jing agreed with a nod. Lin Ju protested the injustice. "Brother, you can't do this to me. I'm helping you after all." After the laughter and teasing, the three followed Li Qingqing into the inner courtyard of the Li family estate. As they walked, Lin Jing looked around. The Li family estate was just the way it had been before, virtually unchanged. After looking around, Lin Jing then asked Li Qingqing, "Did you do all this?" Li Qingqing nodded and then said, "Ever since I came back, I've often found myself missing the past. Back then, Grandpa was still here, and my brother, Brother Lin Jing, Sister Qing Ling, Zhang Yuan, all of you were there too. I think those were the happiest times. So I had the entire courtyard renovated to restore it to the way it used to be. Lin Jing nodded. That's good. Sometime later, they followed Li Qingqing into the inner courtyard of the Li family estate. After entering the inner courtyard, Li Qingqing turned around and said to Lin Jing, "Brother Lin Jing, our Li family is currently in the middle of an important meeting. How about I have someone take you to rest first? Once the meeting is over, I'll come and find you." After speaking, Lin Jing looked at Li Qingqing and then inquired, "Is it about the Yun family matter? We heard a bit about it on our way here." Li Qingqing fell silent for a moment. Then, after a short while, she nodded and replied, "Yes, it is indeed due to some issues with the Yun family." Lin Jing then said, "Since it's about that matter with the Yun family, I think we could all go in and listen. If there is really a difficult situation, we might even be able to help." Li Qingqing, after listening, did not directly answer, but seemed somewhat hesitant. Lin Jing looked at Li Qingqing. Then, with a faint smile, he said, "If it's really inconvenient, then never mind. After all, this is a family affair of the Li family, and it's not appropriate for us to intervene. But if there is anything that you need help with, just speak up. Don't bear it all by yourself. After all, we're not outsiders, and there's no need to be polite with us." At this time, Lin Ju also spoke up, saying, "Yes, Sister Qing, if you have any difficulties, just tell us. We've already heard about some of your issues with the Yun family, especially that young master of the Yun family. Forget it. Let's not talk about him. In my eyes, you are my sister-in-law, and there's no way he can bully you. Now that we're here with my brother, a great master at the nascent soul stage, to support you, let's see who dares to bully you." Hearing Lin Ju's words, Li Qingqing's face turned slightly red, and she raised her head to glance at Lin Jing, who was also looking at her with concern. This made Li Qingqing's cheeks turn even redder. Afterward, Li Qingqing calmed her emotions, and after pondering for a while, she said, "Actually, it's not like. It's just that this time, we may be facing not only the Yun family, but also the Nanming immortal sect behind them. The Nanming immortal sect is powerful within the Nanming domain, and I'm afraid it will bring trouble for you, Brother Lin Jing." Li Qingqing's words left Lin Jing somewhat speechless. "What have you been thinking about all this time? Just because the Nanming immortal sect is powerful, am I supposed to ignore you? What kind of talk is that?" Having said that, Lin Jing looked at Li Qingqing and continued, "Rest assured, now that we have come, we will definitely not let you be bullied by anyone. You are well aware of my cultivation level. The entire Yin family combined is no match for me. Even with the Nanming immortal sect, except for that elder at the divinity transformation stage, no one else can beat me. If the elder of the Nanming immortal sect takes action personally, I am confident that I can fight him. It remains to be seen if they are willing to pay that price for the Yun family." Lin Jing's words were certainly not an exaggeration. The only one in the entire Yun family was the ancestor at the early stage of the nascent soul, and as for the others, they were not worth considering. If Lin Jing wanted to destroy the Yun family, it would hardly take any effort at all. Even though the Yun family had the support of the Nanming immortal sect, the number of nascent soul cultivators in the sect was not that high, and these people were not a match for Lin Jing either. You must know, aside from his regular cultivation, Lin Jing was also a body refinement cultivator, and with the combination of the two, ordinary cultivators were simply no match for him. Furthermore, Lin Jing's divine sense was far stronger than other cultivators, and he had no fear of the divine transformation cultivator's divine sense attacks. Therefore, facing the elder of the Nanming immortal sect at the divinity transformation stage, Lin Jing was unafraid. Even if he could not defeat that elder, he had ways to fight to a draw. Moreover, if that elder of the Nanming immortal sect were to really take action, it would mean a fight to the death between Lin Jing and the Nanming immortal sect. Would the Nanming immortal sect really provoke such a formidable enemy for the sake of the Yun family? Probably not. Even if that elder of the Nanming immortal sect wanted to obtain the Li family's legacy of alchemy techniques, he would still have to weigh his options with Lin Jing present. He would have to consider whether it was worth it or not. After listening, Li Qingqing pondered for a while, and then, as if she had made a certain decision, she said directly, "All right then, you come with me." Having said that, Li Qingqing led Lin Jing and the other two toward the Li family's council hall. Just as Li Qingqing and Lin Jing's group stepped into the courtyard of the council hall, even while they were still outside the courtyard, they heard a voice coming from inside. "I'd like to know, Patriarch, isn't it a little improper for you to suddenly leave when we are in the middle of a discussion? And who are those people behind you? Even if they are friends of the Patriarch, this is an internal secret matter of our Li family. Is it really appropriate to bring them here now?" As soon as this voice stopped, another voice spoke. "Qingqing, it's not for me to say, third uncle. At this time, your sudden departure and bringing your friends here, isn't it a bit too much?" Having finished speaking, the voice spoke again. "Elder Jean, take those people to the guest rooms first. Don't delay our discussion." Then another voice spoke. "Sorry, third master. Before the old master passed away, he instructed that I only take orders from Master Qingqing." Upon hearing this familiar voice, Lin Jing was taken aback and then peered into the room. Indeed, Lin Jing once again saw that familiar figure. It was the same Elder Jean who was adept in spirit plant cultivation that Lin Jing had met at the Li family. Previously, Li Qingqing had said he had died in battle, yet here he appeared again, which left Lin Jing rather puzzled. Thereafter, Li Qingqing with a cold expression directly led Lin Jing and the two with him into the discussion hall. When Lin Jing entered, Elder Jean saw him and immediately broke into a smile. "I was wondering who it was that made Qingqing so anxious to run out without care to greet. It turns out it's you, kid." Lin Jing approached Elder Jean, studied him carefully, then said with a smile, "Elder Jean, so you're all right. I heard from Qingqing that you had an accident. I thought that. Now that you're all right, it is truly wonderful." Elder Jean, smiling, responded, "I thought I was on hand over my old bones when I encountered those wolf cubs. Who would have thought I didn't die? Not only did I not die, but I also turned misfortune into a stroke of luck and successfully advanced to the Golden Core stage. It must be said my luck is quite good." Before, Elder Jean himself was at the Foundation establishment stage, and logically speaking, at his age, it would be even more difficult to break through to the Golden Core than for most people. Yet, Elder Jean had managed to advance to the Golden Core stage, even under those circumstances. One couldn't help but say that Elder Jin's luck was exceptionally good. In this discussion hall, aside from their group, there were three others. Two of them were mid-stage Golden Core cultivators, while another was at the mid-stage Foundation establishment. At this moment, the mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator approached, glanced at Lin Jing, and snorted coldly. "This young friend, I am Qingqing's third uncle. Regardless of what relationship you had with Qingqing before, right now we in the Li family are in the midst of a discussion. Isn't it rather improper for a young friend like you to come here so rashly?" Lin Jing had heard of this third uncle of Li Qingqing before. He wasn't very talented and was an idler at best. Although the Li family was originally known for its alchemy Dao, Li Qingqing's third uncle had no interest in the alchemy techniques whatsoever. All day long, he relied on the Li family's reputation to behave recklessly. Elder Master Li was very disappointed in him, so he had sent this third master of the Li family away early on to manage one of the Li family's elixir pavilions in another immortal city. However, it was precisely for this reason that this third master of the Li family was lucky to escape the Howling Sky Wolf clan's onslaught and survived. And now, as Li Qingqing rebuilt the Li family, his third uncle, hearing winds of change, came back too. After all, it's always pleasant to enjoy the shade under a big tree. As long as the Li family existed, even if he lived poorly, it wouldn't be too bad. It was still 100 times better than the time he spent alone. However, no sooner had his words fallen than Li Qingqing's face turned cold, and she spoke directly. "Third uncle, Lin Jing is a guest I personally invited to help resolve the Li family's crisis. Moreover, Lin Jing's cultivation is much higher than yours. That manner of address is indeed inappropriate." As Li Qingqing's words ended, Yi Yin immediately revealed his cultivation, and instantly a terrifying aura enveloped the whole hall. Then, Yin, looking coldly at the other three people, walked up to Lin Jing and respectfully called out, "Master!" That call of "Master" took Li Qingqing's third uncle and the other two cultivators by surprise. Even Elder Jean, looking at Lin Jing, was filled with disbelief. Ever since he had entered the room, Lin Jing had been catching up with Elder Jean, and a few of them hadn't paid any attention to Lin Jing's cultivation level. Especially Li Qingqing's third uncle, seeing how familiar Lin Jing was with Li Qingqing, even more considered himself a senior of the Li family, and called Lin Jing junior friend. But what they hadn't expected was that Lin Jing was actually the master of the Golden Core Cultivator from before, and considering the aura that Golden Core Cultivator had released, he was at least at the Golden Core late stage. To be the master of a Golden Core late stage cultivator, wouldn't that require at least the cultivation of a nascent soul stage? And a nascent soul, true monarch, within the entire Nanming domain, belonged to the top echelon, let alone the Li family. Even the Yin family wouldn't dare to provoke them lightly. Li Qingqing's third uncle, looking at Lin Jing at this moment, couldn't help but feel his heart tremble. After all, he was only at the mid-stage of foundation establishment. To dare to call a nascent soul, true monarch junior friend was truly outrageous. A moment later, Li Qingqing's third uncle came to his senses and immediately became more cautious, and even his attitude towards Lin Jing became much more humble. I wonder what senior has such a cultivation level. The other two in the room had already extended their divine sense towards Lin Jing to probe him as soon as they could. However, after probing, they found that Lin Jing's cultivation was only at the Golden Core mid-stage, and no matter how they probed, they couldn't find any flaws. Their foreheads immediately furrowed. How could a cultivator at the Golden Core late stage possibly recognize a Golden Core mid-stage cultivator as their master? Unless this person's cultivation was much higher than theirs, or this person possessed an extremely powerful concealment cultivation technique, which is why they couldn't detect anything. After probing, one of them spoke up. "Third master, this fellow Taoist must have concealed his true cultivation level. He likely doesn't want to reveal too much, so there's no need for you to ask further, third master." After hearing this, Li Qingqing's third uncle understood and then said, "Indeed, I was presumptuous. Since that's the case, then I won't ask further." At this time, Li Qingqing looked at her third uncle and said directly, "Third uncle, I've invited my friend to participate in our Li family council. You don't have any objections, right?" Li Qingqing's third uncle, with an awkward smile, replied, "Since he has come to aid our Li family, of course, I have no objections." Li Qingqing nodded slightly upon hearing this. Then, she turned around, pointed at the two Golden Core mid-stage cultivators, and said to Lin Jing, "Brother Lin Jing, these two are offering Priest Luo and offering Priest Yang. Uncle Luo and Uncle Yang have been on good terms with our Li family since my grandfather's time. When they learned of my return to rebuild the Li family, they joined and became offering priests of our Li family. During this time, they've been quite helpful to me." After saying this, Li Qingqing looked towards offering Priest Luo and offering Priest Yang and said, "Uncle Luo, Uncle Yang, didn't you say earlier that you have a way to help our Li family through this crisis? Why don't you share it so everyone can hear?" Faced with Li Qingqing's question, Luo and Yang, the two offering priests, hesitated. First looking at Lin Jing, then offering Priest Luo addressed Li Qingqing. "Family head, may I know if your friend is a nascent soul, true monarch? If he truly is a nascent soul, true monarch, then we need to make some changes to our earlier plan." No sooner had offering Priest Luo finished speaking than Li Qingqing promptly replied, "My brother Lin Jing is indeed a nascent soul, true monarch. However, he has only recently advanced to the nascent soul stage, and due to some accidents during the advancement, his realm is not yet stable, and thus he can't take action lightly." After speaking, Li Qingqing looked at them again. "Uncle Luo, Uncle Yang, brother Lin Jing's condition must not be revealed to outsiders. I hope you two uncles can keep this a secret. After hearing this, they promptly pounded their chests and said, "Family head, rest assured, this matter is of great importance. We will definitely keep it a secret." Then, Li Qingqing continued, "So, uncles, what exactly is the plan? I suppose you can speak now." Upon hearing this, the two exchanged a look, then offering priest Luo spoke up again. "Our plan is to first compromise with the Yun family and give them the inheritance elixir technique. As you know, family head, the Yun family is only after the inheritance elixir technique. If we just imprint a copy and hand it over to them, I'm sure they wouldn't trouble our Li family too much. And Yunlong will certainly not dare to speak wildly anymore about taking you as his concubine and humiliating our Li family. By just imprinting a copy of the inheritance elixir technique, we can not only preserve the Li family's inheritance, but also protect you, family head. From the current situation, this seems to be the most cost-effective method." As he said this, offering priest Yang also interjected at this time, cupping his hands in persuasion. "Family head, the Yun family's power is immense, not something we can afford to provoke, especially now with the Yun family ancestors' advancement to the nascent soul, which has greatly increased the entire Yun family's power, completely binding them with the Nanming immortal sect. Our Li family cannot compete with them. Moreover, it's not just the Yun family we're facing, but also the Nanming immortal sect behind them. Even if your friend is a nascent soul, true monarch, facing the Nanming immortal sect backed by the Yun family, he would be powerless. So, I think under the current circumstances, it's most important to ensure the safety of the Li family and you, family head." Li Qingqing listened and frowned. "Uncle Luo, Uncle Yang, you must also know the importance of inheriting alchemy techniques to an alchemical family. Inheriting alchemy techniques is the foundation of our Li family, and it's impossible to give it away." Offering priest Luo looked at Li Qingqing's firm stance, helplessly shook his head, and sighed, then said, "Alas, if that's the case, we have no other choice." And offering priest Yang felt the same way. Li Qingqing watched the two, silent for a long time. After a long silence, Li Qingqing spoke again. "Let's conclude today's discussion here. Uncle Luo, Uncle Yang, thank you for your troubles." The two waved their hands repeatedly, saying, "The family head is too courteous. It is our duty to share the family head's concerns." After finishing, the two bade farewell to Li Qingqing and the few people with Lin Jing, and left the council hall. After the two had left, Li Qingqing's third uncle suddenly spoke. "Qingqing, think over the suggestions from your Uncle Luo and Uncle Yang again. I think what they said makes sense. Our Li family truly cannot afford to provoke the Yun family now." Li Qingqing looked up at her third uncle, then spoke. "Third uncle, during this time, just stay at home. If there's nothing important, try not to go out." Li Qingqing's third uncle wanted to say something upon hearing this, but, seeing the sharpness in Li Qingqing's eyes, he immediately swallowed the words that had reached his lips. Afterward, Li Qingqing's third uncle also left. Following the departure of Li Qingqing's third uncle, only Elder Jean, Li Qingqing, and the few people with Lin Jing remained in the council hall. Of course, there was also a little sparrow. Just then, Li Qingqing spoke to Lin Jing. "Brother Lin Jing, please shield this place. There are some matters I need to discuss with you all." Lin Jing nodded, then lifted his hand, and spiritual power immediately surged out, forming a light screen that enveloped the entire council hall. Having done all this, Lin Jing said, "It's ready." Li Qingqing nodded, then spoke again. "Brother Lin Jing, the reason I concealed something earlier is that those two offering priests have already betrayed us and sided with the Yun family." Lin Jing then nodded and said, "I had guessed as much." Previously, when Li Qingqing introduced Lin Jing, he remained silent and didn't reveal his true cultivation. If Li Qingqing refused to tell the truth, it must be because there was something wrong with those two. Li Qingqing continued to say, "Originally, if Brother Lin Jing and the others hadn't come, I would have planned to continue dealing with them for a while. But now that Brother Lin Jing and the others are here, I no longer have anything to worry about. Now that you have arrived, Brother Lin Jing, I deliberately leaked the news that you are a nascent soul. I guess they will soon go to report to the Yun family. It won't be long before the Yun family takes action. When that time comes, I will need Brother Lin Jing to make a move. If it's possible, Brother Lin Jing, as long as you make a move and deter them, they should know better and dare not provoke the Li family again. Lin Jing nodded and said, "Don't worry. Leave it to me when the time comes." Li Qingqing nodded, then spoke again. "Besides those two, I also suspect that my third uncle is colluding with the Yun family, although I've never been completely certain." At this point, Li Qingqing turned to Elder Jean. "Elder Jean, during this time, I will trouble you to keep an eye on my third uncle. If he goes out, let him go out. Don't stop him, just to see if he's really colluding with the Yun family." Upon hearing this, Elder Jean nodded. "Understood. I'll keep a close watch on the third master." Before long, the group finished their discussion. Elder Jean left first, while Lin Jing and the others followed Li Qingqing back to the courtyard prepared for them by Li Qingqing. Here, free from the trivial matters of the Li family, they had a lively chat. During the conversation, Li Qingqing suddenly suggested, "Lin Jing, brother, since you left the Nanming domain, you haven't really tasted any delicacies, have you?" Lin Jing thought about it and realized that it was indeed the case. Since leaving the Nanming domain, he had spent most of his time either in alchemy or cultivation, seldom taking the time to specifically indulge his appetite. Even when he was on Lian Island, it was the same. Lin Jing nodded. Li Qingqing then continued, "How about this? Afterward, let's go together to the Immortal Gathering Tower and try the delicacies there as well." "Lin Jing, brother, what do you think? The Immortal Gathering Tower is still around?" Lin Jing was somewhat surprised. "Of course," said Li Qingqing. "Behind the Immortal Gathering Tower is the Qingyuan sword sect." No wonder, Lin Jing suddenly realized. "If that's the case, then let's go to the Immortal Gathering Tower," Lin Jing said. After discussing it, Lin Ju was also very curious about the Immortal Gathering Tower mentioned by the two. So, at Lin Ju's urging, the group quickly set off and left the Li family. Just outside the Li family, Li Qingqing immediately spoke up. "Lin Jing, brother, it's still early. Before we go to the Immortal Gathering Tower, I'll take you to a place first." "What place?" Lin Jing asked, puzzled. Li Qingqing gave a mysterious smile and said, "Follow me, and you'll know when we get there." Then, under Li Qingqing's lead, the group walked down the main street and headed in another direction. Along the way, Li Qingqing walked and introduced Lin Jing to some changes in Nanshan Immortal City during this time. As she spoke, Li Qingqing would sometimes sigh and talk about the old days between them. Whenever this happened, Lin Ju would ask with curiosity, incessantly inquiring about some of Lin Jing's past. Li Qingqing, on the other hand, spilled everything about the experiences they had shared. In this way, they wandered around for quite a while. And as they walked along the route Li Qingqing was leading them on, Lin Jing got a rough idea of where they were heading. If Lin Jing's guess was right, the place Li Qingqing was leading them to should be the courtyard where he and Huang Qingling used to live. Sure enough, after a period of trekking, the group passed through the main street and arrived at another quiet long street. Even though the whole place had greatly changed, Lin Jing could still recognize it as the street in front of the courtyard where he and Huang Qingling had lived. However, the alleyway in front of the courtyard had now turned into a street. On both sides of the street were rows of shops, and some cultivators hurriedly walked on the street. Although this long street was also wide, it was much quieter compared to the main street. Afterward, Li Qingqing led Lin Jing to the front of a shop with its door closed on the street side. Looking at the shop, Lin Jing felt a bit bewildered and couldn't help but reminisce about the past. The location of this shop was precisely where the small courtyard he had lived in for several years had been. Back then, this place was part of Ubaila. Looking again now, the two rows of shops flanking this street must have been taken back by the Nanming Immortal City a long time ago. At this moment, Li Qingqing spoke. "I have bought this shop." Having said that, Li Qingqing walked straight up and opened the door to the shop. After the shop's door was opened, Li Qingqing directly called out to Lin Jing. Lin Jing, brother, come quick. I bought this shop especially for you. Come inside and take a look. As she spoke, Li Qingqing took the lead and stepped into the shop. Driven by curiosity, Lin Ju also went inside. Following behind Lin Ju was Yi Yun. Only after all three had entered did Lin Jing snap out of his reverie. Then, Lin Jing also followed them in. Upon entering the shop, it was completely empty inside. Lin Jing, brother, come over here. I have a surprise for you. As Li Qingqing spoke, she crossed the shop's front hall and headed inside. With a bout of curiosity, Lin Jing followed her inside. Behind the shop, there was a not-so-small courtyard. Lin Jing stopped short as soon as he entered the courtyard, because the courtyard behind the shop was an exact replica of what it was when Lin Jing lived here before. Whether it was the pavilion in the middle of the courtyard, the rockery, or even the kitchen, all were built exactly as they had been before. Clearly, this must be the surprise Li Qingqing was talking about. Lin Jing walked in the courtyard, looking around as he went. Even Little Sparrow was in this yard, flitting back and forth without stopping. Seeing these familiar scenes, memories of the past flashed through his mind, triggering a wave of nostalgia in Lin Jing. It was at this moment that Li Qingqing, who had been following Lin Jing, spoke up again. It's not just this little courtyard. I also bought the yard where Qing stayed and restored everything to how it used to be, just like this one. Upon hearing this, Lin Jing stepped forward and vanished on the spot. The next moment, he appeared in midair. Standing in a void above the courtyard, Lin Jing looked towards the yard where Huang Qingling had lived. Huang Qingling's yard was very close to Lin Jing's, and he could clearly see everything in that yard. The yard had also been restored by Li Qingqing, made to look exactly as it did before. After observing for a while, Lin Jing descended from midair and looked back at Li Qingqing, feeling somewhat touched in his heart. Li Qingqing was still sentimental, and it was precisely because of that he had returned to the Nanming domain to rebuild the Li family. At this time, Li Qingqing came over with a smile and said to Lin Jing, Lin Jing, brother, won't you go inside and take a look? Lin Jing nodded at her words and said, Indeed, I should take a look. With that, Lin Jing walked towards the house in the courtyard. Upon reaching the front of the house, Lin Jing reached out and pushed open the door. The instant the door opened, a wave of familiarity hit him. The arrangement inside the room had also been meticulously restored by Li Qingqing, exactly the same as before. Even the scent in the room seemed to have barely changed. Looking at the familiar room and smelling the familiar scent, Lin Jing, at that moment, suddenly felt a sense of tranquility. At that moment, he felt as if he had merged with the space around him, with the whole world seeming to consist only of himself. He didn't understand why he felt this way. Afterwards, Lin Jing closed his eyes and began to concentrate on the feeling. As Lin Jing cherished this sensation, a mysterious aura rose from him, circulating around him, seemingly isolating him from the rest of the world. This situation was something none of them, Li Qingqing, Lin Ju, nor Yi Yun, had ever witnessed before. However, no one dared to disturb Lin Jing at this time. So, under Li Qingqing's gestured instruction, the three of them left the room. On their way out, the trio didn't dare make the slightest noise for fear of disturbing Lin Jing. It wasn't until the three of them had left the room and returned to the courtyard that Lin Ju dared to whisper, Qing, sister, what's happening to my brother? Is this what they call an epiphany in the legends? Li Qingqing shook her head and replied softly, I'm not sure, but right now, it's best we do not disturb him. Li Qingqing nodded and said nothing more. Then the three of them waited silently in the yard, just watching Lin Jing. Meanwhile, in another part of Nanshan Immortal City, two people entered a lavish mansion. This mansion was the home of the Yun family. Those two people, had Lin Jing and the others been there, would have been recognized as the offering priests Luo and Yang, who had just left the Li family not long ago. Upon entering the Yun family, they were immediately greeted by a butler, who led them towards the inner courtyard of the Yun household. Upon reaching the inner courtyard, the butler guided the two through the compound, to a secluded yard deep within. This small courtyard unlike other areas of the Yun family, was enveloped by a formation with an eerie aura permeating throughout. In the deepest part of the yard stood a square hall. This entire hall was wrapped by the formation inside the yard, and on the formation there were sinister red threads that extended into the hall. After bringing them to the courtyard, the butler left. Once the butler had left, the two offering priests, Luo and Yang, approached the hall and called out with clasped hands. "Young Master Yun, we have an important report." As their voices fell, a response came from inside the room. "Come in." With the voice, the doors automatically opened. Afterwards, the two offering priests entered. Just inside the hall, they saw a massive formation, and at its center sat a young cultivator in disheveled clothing and hair. Beside the cultivator lay a female cultivator, naked, with her eyes tightly closed, motionless on the cold ground. It was unclear whether she was dead or alive. After the two offering priests entered the room, they merely glanced at the female cultivator lying on the ground and proceeded to ignore her. Then they greeted the seated young cultivator with a bow. The young cultivator suddenly opened his eyes and then spoke. "Someone come." Following his voice, two servants dressed as Foundation establishment cultivators entered from outside the yard. Seeing them enter, the young cultivator glanced at the female cultivator on the ground and simply commanded, "Throw her into the formation outside for disposal." "Yes," the two servants nodded. They then entered the hall, produced a piece of black cloth, and efficiently wrapped up the female cultivator with practiced motions. Watching their skilled actions, one could surmise they did this regularly. As the two of them rolled up the female cultivator, her fingers twitched involuntarily, clearly indicating she was still alive. However, the two servants did not halt their actions. Once they had wrapped the female cultivator, they carried her away from the hall. After the two had left, the young man waved his hand, and the doors of the grand hall closed on their own. It was not until this moment that the young man lifted his head to look at the two and spoke. "Offering priest Luo, offering priest Yang, you have come now. Could it be that something has happened with the Li family?" The two nodded, and then offering priest Luo spoke. "Yes, young master Yun Long." This youth was none other than Yun Long, the young master of the Yun family. Yun Long looked at the two and asked, "What kind of incident?" Offering priest Luo responded, "Today, Li Qingqing had friends visit the Li family, 3 of them in total, one of whom is suspected to be a nascent soul, true monarch." A nascent soul, true monarch? Yun Long's eyebrows furrowed, and then he looked at offering priest Luo and asked, "Are you certain? Have you seen him demonstrate his true strength?" Offering priest Luo shook his head, hesitating to say, "Not completely certain. That man appears to have a golden core mid-stage cultivation, but among their group, another golden core late-stage youth called him master." The golden core late-stage youth revealed his cultivation aura. Judging from the aura he revealed, he has the strength of the 8th level of golden core. Furthermore, the way he looks at the person suspected to be a nascent soul, true monarch, doesn't seem feigned. After hearing this, Yun Long's brow immediately knitted tightly. "A nascent soul cultivator, and you didn't test him yourselves?" Offering priest Yang clasped his hands and said to Yun Long, "We indeed want to test him, but as we were about to inquire, Li Qingqing stopped us." Li Qingqing said that the person had just advanced to nascent soul and had encountered some accidents, so he couldn't act rashly. "We didn't test him in order to avoid exposure." At this time, offering priest Luo also spoke up, adding, "Yes, and besides, the black kite that used to follow Li Qingqing, it has returned with them this time." After hearing this, Yun Long continued, asking, "You said that person is a friend of Li Qingqing, right? What is his name, do you know?" "We do." Offering priest Luo nodded and promptly responded, "Li Qingqing calls him brother Lin Jing, so his name must be Lin Jing." Lin Jing. Why does that name seem somewhat familiar? Yun Long frowned and then began to ponder. A moment later, Yun Long suddenly realized, and then said, "Lin Jing. I remember now. It's him, that mere ant." "Young master, you know this person?" Offering priest Luo asked, puzzled. Yin Long let out a cold laugh and said, "Oomph. Of course I know him. He was nothing but a mere ant in the past." After finishing, Yin Long looked at the two with undisguised scorn in his eyes. "You say that he is a nascent soul, true monarch." Offering priests Luo and Yang nodded repeatedly. Yin Long then scoffed disdainfully. Before the Howling Sky Wolf clan launched their massive invasion, I had seen him. At that time, he was just a chi refinement ant. It has only been a few decades since then. How could he possibly have become a nascent soul, true monarch? That's simply impossible. The cultivation technique I'm currently practicing is fast enough, isn't it? Still, I'm only at the Golden Core late stage. Unless I find another female cultivator at the Golden Core stage for dual cultivation, I won't be able to advance to the Golden Core peak. What skills or virtues does he possess that allow him to cultivate to the nascent soul stage so quickly? After saying this, Yin Long looked up at the two and stated plainly, "You two have been deceived by them." The two were extremely astonished upon hearing this. What? The chi refinement stage? No wonder Li Jing said that he was not convenient to take action. So they were bluffing all along. As they spoke, the two suddenly realized and then said, "They managed to deceive even the two of us. Doesn't this mean that Li Jing has started to suspect us?" However, Yin Long showed no surprise but directly stated, "Isn't it normal for Li Jing to suspect you? After all, you have done so much for me. It's normal to slip up sometimes. And that Li Jing, she's not simple either. I don't know where she has cultivated such abilities from. The Li family was already falling apart, yet she managed to prop it up again." At this point, Yin Long suddenly grew contemplative and said, "To tell the truth, if she truly submits to me, I really want to take her as my concubine. Setting aside her cultivation level, just her abilities alone would help me manage the Yun family in the future." When Yin Long said this, his face rarely showed a hint of regret. After a moment of reflection, Yin Long suddenly turned his head and looked at Luo and Yang, the two offering priests, and said, "Right, how goes the investigation I tasked you with regarding Li Tongyu? Didn't Li Jing say that Li Tongyu is now a nascent soul, true monarch? Is that true?" The two shook their heads and then replied, "We've looked into it as well, but found no evidence." Upon hearing this, Yin Long snorted coldly and then spoke, "Oomph. It seems to be another bluff, a trivial show of force. Li Jing really has perfected the art of deception." Then the two bowed and asked Yin Long, "So, young Master Yin, now that we have been exposed, what should we do next?" Yin Long looked at them and said, "Since they did not reveal you on the spot, act as if nothing has happened and return to the Li family for now. Wait a few days. After the ancestor returns from the Nanming immortal sect, I will make a trip to the Li family." Offering priest Luo and offering priest Yang looked at each other and then said, "Does young Master Yin intend to make a move against the Li family?" Yin Long nodded and replied, "That's right. We should swallow the Li family soon, and after we get the inheritance elixir technique, we must send it to the Nanming immortal sect quickly." The person at the Nanming immortal sect seems to be getting impatient. At this point, Yin Long sneered, "And Li Jing, if she knows what's good for her, fine, but if not, she can't blame me for being ruthless. I just so happen to need a Golden Core female cultivator to help me break through to the Golden Core peak." Luo, the offering priest, and Yang, the offering priest, exchanged a look and then said in unison, "Then let us congratulate young Master Yin in advance." At this, Yin Long looked up at the two and then said, "Whatever you two are thinking, don't assume I am unaware. Rest assured, the Yin family will naturally keep the promise we made to you. But after we obtain the Li family's properties, you surely haven't forgotten what to do, have you?" The two hurriedly nodded and said, "Rest assured, young Master Yin. If we acquire the Li family's properties, we will certainly follow the lead of a Yun family." Yin Long nodded, then said, "All right, go back for now. In a few days, once the ancestor returns from the Nanming immortal sect, we will commence our action." "All right." Meanwhile, on Lin Jing's side, After more than half an hour had passed, Lin Jing finally woke up again. As soon as Lin Jing regained consciousness, he immediately felt that his divine sense was somewhat different. It seemed more solidified than before. Moreover, awakening from that special state of enlightenment, Lin Jing seemed to have gained some new understanding of the world around him. He felt that the world had become more real. This feeling was as if he had been living in an illusion before, and the sudden insight seemed to have brought him in touch with the real world. This feeling was quite marvelous. Just then, seeing Lin Jing awake, Li Qingqing and the other two hurried over. "Lin Jing, how do you feel?" Li Qingqing asked with concern. And at that moment, Lin Ju also asked, "Brother, was that an epiphany just now?" Yian did not speak, but also looked at him with inquiring eyes. Lin Jing looked at the three and nodded, then said, "I indeed had a different kind of enlightenment just now." After speaking, Lin Jing looked at Li Qingqing and said, "After this matter with the Yun family is settled, I plan to stay here for a while and not go back to Lian Island." Upon hearing this, Li Qingqing's eyes suddenly lit up. "Lin Jing, really?" Lin Jing nodded. "That's great news." Li Qingqing was overjoyed. Lin Jing then looked at the small courtyard again. Having reached that special state of enlightenment, Lin Jing had a sudden stroke of inspiration, sensing that his opportunity to reach divinity transformation might well lie within the Nanming domain. Soon after, several people left the small courtyard. Having left the courtyard, Lin Jing and his companions headed towards the Gathering Immortal Tower. On the way to the Gathering Immortal Tower, Lin Jing also took the opportunity to ask Li Qingqing about some matters concerning the demon race secret realm. After some inquiry, Lin Jing learned that the demon race secret realm had been sealed not long ago and was currently in a sealed state. The reason for sealing the demon race secret realm, reportedly, was because the Howling Sky Wolf clan, having suffered a loss, allied with other demon clans of the Western Demon region and transported several demon cultivators at the corporeal refinement stage in preparation for a counterattack. To protect the Nanming domain from further catastrophe, corporeal refinement cultivators from the Western Demon region consulted with the three major sects and decided to seal the demon race secret realm again, trapping them within. Moreover, this time, the sealing was personally undertaken by two corporeal refinement cultivators supported by the Xinglua elixir sect and the Yuling Dao sect, and it took a tremendous amount of effort to set up the seal. Even with several corporeal refinement demon cultivators transported inside the demon race secret realm, they couldn't break the seal for the time being. Lin Jing couldn't help but sigh deeply. Originally, he had hoped to visit the demon race secret realm in a short while. Huang Qingling and Elder Yu were still inside the demon race secret realm, and Lin Jing wanted to go in and check on them, to see if he could once again reach the Qinhuang Palace. Now, with the demon race secret realm being sealed again, even if Lin Jing wanted to enter, he was powerless to do so. Afterward, while walking and chatting, it didn't take long for them to arrive at the Gathering Immortal Tower. Upon arriving at the Gathering Immortal Tower, the shopkeeper immediately came out to greet them. After all, Li Qingqing was not only a Golden Core immortal, but also the current head of the Li family. The shopkeeper of the Gathering Immortal Tower naturally recognized her. After exchanging a few pleasantries with the shopkeeper, Li Qingqing was led upstairs by the maids. Li Qingqing chose a private room with a window facing the street. Inside this room, opening the window provided a view of the street below. One could enjoy the fine food while watching the bustling crowd on the street below, which was quite charming. Once they entered the private room, Li Qingqing and Lin Ju had a pleasant conversation, while Lin Jing looked through the window at the street below. Despite all the time that had passed, and though most things had changed, the lively atmosphere of Nanshan Market remained unchanged. As usual, people were hurrying back and forth on the street, and some were engaged in lively discussions. To better sense the familiar vitality of life, Lin Jing extended his divine sense while he watched. At that moment, inside a small shop directly across from the Gathering Immortal Tower, two Foundation establishment cultivators were talking. Lin Jing's divine sense swept over them, but they didn't notice it at all. After all, there was an immense gap between them and Lin Jing. They simply couldn't detect his probing. The topic of their conversation soon caught Lin Jing's attention. Lin Jing then focused his mind, paying attention to their discussion. One of the yellow-robed cultivators began, saying, "Zhao brother, have you heard? Since the Demon Ray secret realm has been sealed, those remaining Howling Sky Wolf Clan demon cultivators have become increasingly rampant." The other, dressed in black, nodded and replied, "Of course I've heard. I heard that recently many cultivators outside the city have been attacked, and even many female cultivators have just disappeared. I've heard that some demon cultivators from the Howling Sky Wolf Clan are licentious by nature, specifically abducting those female cultivators for their own pleasure." The yellow-robed cultivator nodded and added, "Yes, I've also heard that those Howling Sky Wolf Clan demon cultivators are incredibly wild and have even gone to several Fong markets outside Immortal City to abduct people. It's said that a few days ago, a female golden core cultivator from the Qingyuan Sword Sect Station in Hongtong Fong Market was captured by a demon cultivator from the Howling Sky Wolf Clan. It's been several days now, and she is still missing. I'm afraid the chances for that golden core lady are slim. Although she has the cultivation of the golden core stage, there are several powerful golden core demon cultivators in the Night Mist Mountain range." The black-robed cultivator glanced cautiously around before whispering, "I just received some news not long ago. The golden core woman from the Qingyuan Sword Sect has been found. It is said that a golden core from the Yun family, while exterminating the Howling Sky Wolf Clan, discovered her in one of their dens." At this point, the black-robed cultivator leaned in closer to the yellow-robed one and whispered, "I also heard that the golden core woman had just advanced in her cultivation recently and was a descendant of an elder with the surname Wang from the Qingyuan Sword Sect, who was about to advance to the nascent soul stage. They say that when the golden core woman was found, she was completely unclothed and had been dead for some time. And from the marks on her body, it seems she was tortured to death after having her cultivation drained. I've heard that those from the Howling Sky Wolf Clan are extremely brutal, and they actually..." Upon hearing this, the yellow-robed cultivator was shocked and exclaimed, "They're that cruel?" The loud shock in the yellow-robed cultivator's voice made several passers-by who were walking by the shop look over in curiosity. The yellow-robed cultivator quickly closed his mouth, and the passers-by on the street naturally didn't pay them much attention and soon left. Only then did the yellow-robed cultivator whisper, "Are those demon cultivators from the Howling Sky Wolf Clan really that cruel?" The black-robed cultivator glanced at him and spoke softly, "You think that's just any group? That's the Howling Sky Wolf Clan. They say that the golden core female cultivator is the most beloved junior of Elder Wang. Seeing the tragic state of his junior, he nearly succumbed to madness on the spot. Fortunately, the other elders of the Qingyuan Sword Sect were there to help him stabilize. Otherwise, he would have likely gone mad right there, beyond all hope of recovery." After hearing this, the yellow-robed cultivator couldn't help but sigh. Anyone who went through that would probably not be able to bear it, especially when it's the most beloved junior. I guess this calamity might have damaged his cultivation as well. The black-robed cultivator nodded and said, "It is said that although Elder Wang had help and didn't completely succumb to madness, his mental state has nonetheless fallen. Advancing to nascent soul is now hopeless, and he will probably remain at the Golden Core Peak." The yellow-robed cultivator shook his head and said, "Alas, what a pity. Otherwise, it wouldn't be long before the Qingyuan Sword Sect gained another nascent soul true monarch." The black-robed cultivator seemed unconcerned. "So what if he is a nascent soul true monarch? It's of no concern to us anyway. I'm just expressing my sentiments," the yellow-robed cultivator began to say. In the middle of speaking, the yellow-robed cultivator suddenly changed the subject and then looked at the black-robed cultivator. "By the way, shouldn't this information be confidential? Where did you get it from? Also, I've noticed that your information has been increasingly accurate lately." The black-robed cultivator looked at the yellow-robed cultivator, chuckled, and said, "Heavenly Secrets Association. Have you ever heard of it?" Of course, the yellow-robed cultivator nodded upon hearing this. Could it be that you bought this information from the Heavenly Secrets Association? Information from the Heavenly Secret Association doesn't come cheap. The black-robed cultivator chuckled, and then proceeded to say, I can't afford information from the Heavenly Secrets Association. I've just been helping the Heavenly Secrets Association with some work, gathering information for them, or verifying the authenticity of certain information. By working for the Heavenly Secrets Association, naturally, I can get my hands on some information from inside the association, which, relatively speaking, isn't of very high value. Upon hearing this, the yellow-robed cultivator was very surprised. So that's how it is. I just wonder if there's a chance for me to join the Heavenly Secrets Association. The black-robed cultivator said, Of course, there's no problem. Otherwise, why do you think I'm telling you all this? The Heavenly Secrets Association has just arrived in the Nanming domain not long ago and is currently expanding. They're in need of people like us to gather information for them. As long as you help gather information, you can get some reward from the Heavenly Secrets Association, such as spirit stones, magical treasures, elixir medicines, cultivation techniques, among other cultivation resources. All we have to do is join the Heavenly Secret Association and become one of their peripheral members. After hearing this, the yellow-robed cultivator asked, Do I have to join the Heavenly Secret Association to get rewards? If I have some very important information, can I choose not to join the Heavenly Secret Association and just sell the information to them? The black-robed cultivator said, Of course you can. If you have any special information, you can also seek out the Heavenly Secrets Association for a transaction. As long as the association confirms the accuracy of the information, they will certainly reward you. Now, I understand, the yellow-robed cultivator said. Then, the yellow-robed cultivator gave a fist salute and said, Brother Zhao, please take care of the matter of joining the Heavenly Secrets Association for me. The black-robed cultivator replied, Don't worry, I've got this handled. Lin Jing stopped paying attention to the rest of their conversation and began to ponder deeply. At this moment, Lin Ju noticed that Lin Jing seemed distracted and called out to him, Bro, are you all right? Lin Jing came back to his senses and then said, I'm fine. After speaking, Lin Jing turned to ask Li Qingqing, Qingqing, earlier, when your grandfather took us to the demon race secret realm, wasn't there an Elder Wang from the Qingyuan sword sect? I remember he's your grandfather's good friend, right? Li Qingqing nodded and said, Yes, Elder Wang is indeed my grandfather's good friend. How's he doing now? Lin Jing continued to ask. Li Qingqing replied, Elder Wang has been assigned to another immortal city. He's probably busy. I've been tied up with family affairs lately and haven't had a chance to visit him. It's been quite some time. Lin Jing nodded and then briefly recounted the information he had just overheard, sharing it with Li Qingqing. After listening, Li Qingqing fell silent for a while, then spoke. Qingyuan sword sect elder with the surname Wang. There are 3, and among them, 2 have descendants. I also don't know if it's him. Once the matter with the Yun family is settled, I'll go see him. Next, the food was served and the group began to eat. However, during the meal, Li Qingqing seemed somewhat distracted. Lin Jing naturally understood what Li Qingqing was worried about. The meal ended quickly. After eating, they returned to the Li family. Since returning from the drunken immortal pavilion for the following several days, Lin Jing and the others did not go out. Offering priest Luo and offering priest Yang, as usual, attended to their own matters. However, during those few days, they tried to make contact with Lin Jing several times, attempting to probe Lin Jing's cultivation. Nevertheless, each time they were blocked by Li Qingqing. Lin Ju once asked Li Qingqing why not let Lin Jing display his cultivation, to intimidate the 2 priests and deter them from any rash actions. Li Qingqing then explained to Lin Ju, if they were truly loyal to the Li family, they would naturally know what they should do, but if the 2 harbored ulterior motives, even if they got through this difficulty, they would still betray the Li family the next time. It's better to take this opportunity to clear them out of the Li family once and for all. And so, several more days passed. Then one day, Elder Jean found Li Qingqing and informed her that Li Qingqing's 3rd uncle, together with offering priests Luo and Yang, had gone to the Yun family. Upon receiving this news, they all knew that they were probably preparing to take action. As expected, before long, offering priest Luo hurried back. After returning, offering priest Luo directly went to see Li Qingqing. Then, not much later, Li Qingqing sent someone to call for Lin Jing to discuss matters in the Great Hall. When Lin Jing arrived, Li Qingqing and offering priest Luo were already there. Elder Jin was also standing by the side. As soon as Lin Jing stepped into the council hall, offering priest Luo took the initiative to speak. Senior Lin, Qingqing's third uncle is in trouble. Lin Jing, puzzled, asked, "What happened?" At that moment, Li Qingqing also spoke. "Uncle Luo, please tell Lin Jing about it." Offering priest Luo nodded and then began to recount to Lin Jing. In offering priest Luo's account, he and Li Qingqing's uncle had gone out, initially planning to handle some matters at the Li family's elixir pavilion. However, unexpectedly, Li Qingqing's uncle encountered a junior from the Yun family on the way. Because the junior was disrespectful toward Li Qingqing, her uncle, unable to stand by, taught him a lesson. But unexpectedly, Yin Long was also nearby. Seeing his family junior being bullied, Yin Long naturally could not stand by and immediately captured Li Qingqing's third uncle. He asked offering priest Luo to relay a message. If Li Qingqing wanted to save her third uncle, she needed to personally go to the Yun family and apologize. Otherwise, the Yun family would take matters into their own hands and deal with Li Qingqing's third uncle themselves. Upon hearing this, Lin Jing knew that it was a scheme of the Yun family. Even though it was the Yun family's scheme, Li Qingqing could not ignore it. After all, no matter what, that was Li Qingqing's third uncle. Even though she suspected collusion between him and the Yun family, without evidence, in the eyes of others, he was still Li Qingqing's third uncle. Therefore, for the Li family, it's likely that Li Qingqing had to go this time. Otherwise, if Li Qingqing dared not go to the Yun family and let her third uncle be dealt with by others, it would dishearten many people. The Li family could become disunited because of this and possibly even fall apart. Li Qingqing had always held the Li family in high esteem and naturally would not allow this to happen. After offering priest Luo finished speaking, he then directly said, "Senior Lin, going to the Yin family rashly might not be safe. How about you accompany the family head, Senior Lin, on a trip to the Yun family? With the senior present, I believe the Yun family will certainly not make things difficult for family head Qingqing." After hearing this, Lin Jing nodded and said, "No problem." Lin Jing's forthright response surprised offering priest Luo. But in a moment he recovered. Offering priest Luo then smiled and said, "That's wonderful. We'll be troubling Senior Lin then." Li Qingqing glanced at offering priest Luo before speaking. "Uncle Luo, you go back and get ready first. I have something to discuss with brother Lin Jing, and later you'll join us for a trip to the Yun family." Offering priest Luo nodded and said, "All right, family head." After saying that, offering priest Luo left first. Once offering priest Luo had left, Li Qingqing then spoke, asking Lin Jing, "Brother Lin Jing, do you think that my third uncle could be colluding with him?" Lin Jing replied, "Let's not think too much for now. We'll talk after we arrive at the Yun family." Li Qingqing nodded. Next, the two didn't keep offering priest Luo waiting for too long. Not even half an hour had passed before both were ready. Afterward, Li Qingqing, along with Lin Jing and offering priest Luo, set out towards the Yun family. For this trip to the Yun family, only the three of them went without notifying anyone else, nor did they take Lin Ju and Yi Yun with them. After all, Lin Jing possessed a cultivation at the nascent soul stage, and even if there were any plots against them, as long as Lin Jing was present, there would be nothing to worry about. Being prominent families within the same district of Nanshan Immortal City, the Li family and Yun family's residences weren't too far from one another. Before long, the trio arrived at the Yun family. Upon arriving, shopkeeper Luo explained the situation, and then a steward from the Yun family came out to greet them, leading Lin Jing and his party into the Yun family's compound. After entering the Yun family, the steward led the way, with Lin Jing and his companions following behind, heading towards the Yun family's inner court. As soon as he entered the Yun family, Lin Jing felt a faint trace of divine sense enveloping the group. Lin Jing immediately understood that it must be the Yun family ancestor who was currently extending his divine sense, surveilling every move they made. Although he was trying hard to hide it, Lin Jing could still clearly sense its presence. Apart from this divine sense, the entire Yun family compound was imbued with a strange aura, somewhat reminiscent of demonic qi. This special aura was much more concealed than the divine sense that enveloped them. And if Lin Jing's own divine sense had not been so powerful, he would surely not have noticed it. Lin Jing, while walking, casually looked around as if completely unaware of this. Lin Jing did not make any rash moves. Instead, he continued to follow the Yun family steward deeper inside. Thus, the three of them followed the steward through the compound, eventually arriving at a hall that seemed to be used for receiving guests. After bringing the three of them in, the steward then said to Lin Jing and his companions, "The young master is currently busy. Please wait here for a moment." After speaking, the steward summoned 2 maids to attend to Lin Jing and the others, then left the room himself. After the steward had left, offering priest Luo seemed a bit restless. He moved closer to Li Jing before speaking. "Family head, what do you think they mean by this? Just leaving us here like this?" Li Jing was very calm, directly saying, offering priest Luo, "Stay calm and do not be agitated." Meanwhile, Lin Jing, after taking his seat upon entering, began to close his eyes to rest, seemingly indifferent to whatever was about to unfold. While Lin Jing was resting with his eyes closed, that divine sense did not linger for too long before it was withdrawn. As soon as the divine sense receded, Lin Jing's own divine sense stretched out. He quickly found the steward who had just left them, and surreptitiously left a trace of divine sense on him. Lin Jing kept his divine sense on that mark, following the steward as he continued to probe into the Yun family's inner court. The reason Lin Jing did this was twofold. One was to find out what exactly was wrong with the Li family that was making him uneasy, and the other was concerning Li Jing's third uncle. He followed the steward with his divine sense in hopes of potentially locating Li Jing's third uncle and overhearing their conversation. After all, it was still unclear whether Li Jing's third uncle had truly betrayed the Li family. Lin Jing hoped to uncover some information through the steward. In this manner, Lin Jing followed the steward for quite a distance until he eventually arrived in front of the Yun family's inner court. The inner court of the Yun family was different from that of the Li family. The Yun family had actually set up a formation within their inner court, and it was a 5th-rank defensive array at that. This formation was capable of defense and also had the ability to obstruct divine sense. The moment the steward entered the inner court, the divine sense mark that Lin Jing had left on him instantly dissipated. Lin Jing's own probing divine sense was pushed back, blocked outside of the formation. There was something very off about the Yun family. Having set up a formation within their own home was one thing, but for it to be of such a high level that it could even block the divine sense of someone at the nascent soul stage was quite another. With the Yun family ancestor currently there, it was obviously not necessary for Lin Jing to probe any further. Forcefully continuing to investigate could potentially trigger the array's response, alerting them and causing more problems than it would solve, so he decided it was better to simply give up for now. After Lin Jing withdrew his divine sense, the steward who had led them, upon entering the inner court, walked quite a distance further. He went all the way to the doorway of a courtyard deep within the complex, which was different from the other courtyards. This area wasn't just protected by its own separate formation, but was also guarded by 2 people. When the steward arrived at the entrance of the courtyard, he said to one of the cultivators guarding the door, "Please inform the young master that Li Jing from the Li family has arrived." And the cultivator guarding that place spoke up. "The young master is currently cultivating. Let them leave first. Besides, this time calling them here was merely a test. Before the young master began his training, he had already made arrangements that after a few days he will personally visit the Li family. so they should prepare themselves. All right, I will return now and notify them. The housekeeper nodded and then directly turned around and left. As for the two cultivators, they did not pay any more attention to him, continuing to faithfully guard the front of the courtyard. Lin Jing and the others did not wait too long before the housekeeper came back and spoke directly to Lin Jing and the other two. Our young master is currently cultivating, and it is inconvenient for him to meet with you. You should leave for now. The young master said that, in a few days, he will personally visit the Li family regarding today's matter. You should prepare yourselves in advance. As these words were spoken, the housekeeper's expression was quite arrogant, as if he did not put Lin Jing and his party in his eyes at all. Offering Priest Luo became angry on the spot. What do you mean by this? Our family head has already come in person, and yet your Yun family dares to leave us hanging like this? Li Qingqing also frowned slightly. However, she did not say anything but looked towards Lin Jing. And it was at this moment that Lin Jing spoke up, saying, "If that's the case, then we should leave for now." Offering Priest Luo was startled for a moment, and then looked at Lin Jing with some surprise. "Senior Lin, are we just going to leave like this?" Lin Jing nodded. Seeing this, Li Qingqing did not say any more but spoke up directly. "Then let's do that. We'll leave first." After speaking, without waiting for Offering Priest Luo to say anything else, she stood up first and walked outside. And Lin Jing also followed behind Li Qingqing and went out. Offering Priest Luo, with no other choice, shook his head and also followed behind Lin Jing and left. As the group stood up and left, Lin Jing once again felt that divine sense sweeping over him. That must have been a test by the Yun family patriarch. Yet Lin Jing acted as if he hadn't noticed, with no unusual behavior, continuing to follow Li Qingqing and walking out. Before long, the three of them left the Yun family, and the divine sense that had enveloped them also withdrew. After they came out from the Yun family, Offering Priest Luo was the first to bid farewell to Li Qingqing, stating he had other matters to attend to. Naturally, Li Qingqing agreed. After Offering Priest Luo had left, Li Qingqing couldn't help but express her curiosity to Lin Jing. "Why do we leave earlier?" Lin Jing replied, "There's something off about the Yun family." Li Qingqing puzzled. "Something off? Could it be dangerous?" Lin Jing thought for a moment and said, "When we entered the Yun family just now, there was a divine sense examining our every move. That divine sense has reached the nascent soul stage. It must be that Yun family patriarch. Of course, that's only one thing. Additionally, the entire Yun family also seemed somewhat off. I think it's better to investigate first before saying anything." After saying this, Lin Jing turned to Li Qingqing and said, "Qingqing, you go back first." Li Qingqing nodded. "Lin Jing, be careful." Lin Jing smiled and said, "Don't worry. The entire Yun family combined is not my match. What's most important is the Nanming immortal sect behind the Yun family." After Li Qingqing had left, Lin Jing did not choose to leave. Instead, he took a detour and found a secluded place not far from the Yun family and entered the system space. Since the Yun family was protected by that great formation, if Lin Jing wanted to investigate without alarming them, it would definitely be more appropriate to use observation mode. Upon entering the system space, Lin Jing immediately activated observation mode. After entering observation mode, Lin Jing continued probing towards the Yun family under observation mode. However, as soon as Lin Jing's probe touched the Yun family, he detected a person. It was the Offering Priest Luo, who had just been with Lin Jing and the others. At this moment, Offering Priest Luo was conversing with the butler from before. "Second steward, what is going on with young Master Yinlong? Wasn't he supposed to be bringing over Li Qingqing? How come after I brought Li Qingqing here, they immediately let them go?" The butler began to speak. This was merely a test by the young master. Upon hearing this, Offering Priest Luo immediately said, "The young master is being too cautious. I've said before that Lin Jing is definitely posing as someone else. He surely doesn't have nascent soul stage cultivation." At this point, Offering Priest Luo's face was full of contempt. Given his performance today, surely the second steward also saw it with the way he acted. He doesn't resemble a nascent soul, true monarch in the least. If he were truly a nascent soul, true monarch, he probably would have turned hostile on the spot. The second steward, with a calm expression on his face, straightforwardly said, "This is the young master's decision. There's no need for you to worry about it." After listening, offering priest Luo was left speechless. Upon hearing this, Lin Jing decided not to continue eavesdropping any further. Following that, Lin Jing controlled the observation mode to probe deeper into the Yun family's inner courtyard. With such tight security in the Yun family's inner courtyard, there must be secrets unknown to the public. Lin Jing, using the observation mode, arrived at the inner courtyard of the Yun family and proceeded to investigate several courtyards in succession, finding nothing out of the ordinary. However, after exploring these courtyards, Lin Jing raised the perspective of observation mode and noticed there was a courtyard within the deepest part of the inner courtyard, protected by a formation. Seeing this courtyard, Lin Jing immediately understood. He must have found the target of his search. Afterward, Lin Jing controlled the observation mode to probe towards that courtyard. At the entrance of this courtyard, there were two cultivators standing guard. As Lin Jing probed through, a voice emerged from within the courtyard. Upon hearing this, the two cultivators immediately took out a token from their bodies and stuck it onto the formation. Following that, with a wave of ripples, the formation became elusive, and then the two men, holding the token, directly passed through the formation and entered. Lin Jing followed the two men inside as well. Once inside the courtyard, Lin Jing saw a square hall in the center of this courtyard. The entire hall was enveloped by the courtyard's internal formation, and atop this formation, there were red, slightly eerie threads being funneled into the hall. The doors to the hall were already open. Inside the hall was a huge formation, with a person sitting in the middle of it. That person was Yunlong. Apart from Yunlong, there was also a female cultivator lying motionless at one side, completely nude. This female cultivator appeared to have gone through inhuman torture, as there wasn't an inch of her body that was intact. However, she was still alive, not dead yet. Through observation mode, Lin Jing could even clearly see the slight movements of her eyelashes. But after the two of them entered, they directly produced a piece of black cloth and swiftly wrapped up the female cultivator with it. Then, they immediately lifted the wrapped woman and left. After the two left, they carried the woman behind the grand hall. Thereafter, the two took out the token they had used before, performed a set of hand seals in the void, and then the token emitted a bright light. After the bright light passed, a hole appeared instantly. When the hole appeared, the two men frowned and then quickly removed the black cloth from the female cultivator's body, lifted the woman they had just wrapped, and threw her into the hole. Witnessing this scene, Lin Jing was very curious, so he controlled the observation mode to peer into the hole. Following the hole inside, Lin Jing suddenly discovered that it led to a very large blood pool. Inside the blood pool were numerous female cultivators' corpses. How many, Lin Jing couldn't tell. But for what Lin Jing could see, there were at least dozens. Some of these bodies were intact, while others were decomposed and looked extremely horrifying. Above the blood pool was a formation. This formation seemed to be constantly absorbing the malevolent energy from the blood pool, transferring it to somewhere else. Lin Jing looked upward and then directly controlled the perspective to pass through that formation. Afterwards, he went through the blood pool below and appeared within the grand hall. So it turned out that the blood pool was connected to the formation inside the grand hall, and the malevolent force accumulated in that blood pool was naturally supplied to the formation within the grand hall. Moreover, at this time, the formation inside the grand hall was flashing with red light, and Yunlong was sitting in the middle of the grand hall's formation, his eyes closed as he cultivated.